you all know me. I apologize in advance if my voice gives out. It is a bit raw right now because I have been talking and singing and yelling a lot, especially today, and I haven't drank enough water. Anyway, it's time for the Q&A that I promised at 200 subs. Don't check the sub count right now. It's okay, guys. We just hit 200. Yeah. It's not like we're almost at 300. Save me from the mob, please. Yeah, no, I'm really sorry. I know I promised this a few months ago. I just didn't get around to it, so I've got questions here. It's just, there's a lot of it. You know, it's I've got significant amount of questions here, and most of them were asked by you guys on my Instagram. Link in the description. Check it out. Follow. I'll probably do this again sometime in like a month, so you should all follow it. Anyway, we're gonna get straight into the questions. We're gonna start with a few that just generally get asked by a lot of people, nobody in specific. And yeah, I'll start with the most obvious one. Where are you from? I was born in Canada. I live in California, and I used to live in Chicago. I've moved 6 times since I was a little kid, and you know, I'm a British, French, Canadian, Irish person. So it's pretty mixed European mud. I have some Welsh in there as well, and probably some Scottish. I don't know. It's all over the place. You know us Europeans and our crazy family lineages. Anyway, next, and this is probably the single most popular question I ever get. How old are you? I'm 16, and this actually leads straight into the next question, sort of awkwardly. I'm 16. My birthday is September 1st. That was the next question. And these two sort of lead into the next one. What grade are you in? I'm not in a grade. So I finished high school when I was 14. I sort of dropped out when I was 12 and did all sorts of acceleration stuff. And then I, finished my curriculum, got my GED equivalent, which is called a CHESP in California at the age of 16, which is the earliest you can get it without a public school mandated exemption. I didn't go to public school, so I can't get that exemption, so I had to wait until I was 16 to get the actual diploma. But despite that, I did have a finished curriculum by the time I was 14, and I went to college at the same age. I have been attending college for the last 2 years, and I really enjoy it. I'm currently a psychology major, and yeah, hopefully that goes well. It's mostly a backup, though. Second, or, next, rather, this is sort of a very common one as well. What are your favorite bands? I'm just going to list a bunch all at once, the most, famous ones that you might know. It's a pretty broad spectrum, and this is, bands and artists as well, I want to clarify. The Killers, My Chemical Romance, Fall Out Boy, The 1975, Blink-182, Neck Deep, Modern Baseball, The Smashing Pumpkins, Bring Me the Horizon, Linkin Park, everything in that sort of vicinity. American football as well is a big one. Thrice, The Used, a lot of the early post-hardcore bands of the 2000s like Thursday. And another huge one for me is the White Stripes, who influenced my songwriting immensely. I like to add a bluesy edge to a lot of my songs that y'all haven't heard. It's pretty fun. That's how I write my punk, actually, is I write it with that weird bluesy touch a lot of the time. And I try and get rid of it, but I don't know. Jack White and Meg White influenced me immensely. So they're huge for me, especially when it comes to songwriting and production. Next, and this is probably one of the most notable ones as well, and I get it kind of too much, honestly. What inspired you to start making music? And the person who asked this, I'll just list one of them, was Flubbernugget5 on Instagram. How did you start making music? What inspired you to start making music, And Cracker Connor also asks, what got you into music? So what got me into music, they're sort of two separate questions, was my parents. I think that's the case for most people who get into music. My parents owned records and CDs and cassettes, and they played them in the car growing up. American Pie by Don McLean. There were a few, funny children's ones. The Police, my dad used to play. I love The Police. Rush, all sorts of stuff from there. I have a crate of vinyl, basically. Several crates of vinyl. My parents are, on the slightly older side. Love you, Mom. Love you, Dad. So they've got a lot of, older records, and those were a huge part of me growing up, We've got Prince, Michael Jackson, all sorts of stuff. U2, 80s, 70s especially, and some 90s even. A lot of Neil Young. We have some cassettes, mixtapes that my mom and her friends made. You know, you had folk, all sorts of stuff on there because she used to be into folk in the 90s. Canadians, am I right? No, I like folk. Folk's pretty cool. And, you know, just a lot of, like, weird rock. You know, my dad got me into punk, I'd say. And I always find myself surprised by how much of the stuff he, you know, listened to from what I listened to. Like, you know, mentioned a Green Day song. He's like, oh, yeah, I remember how that goes. I'm like, no, you don't. I play, and he sings along to it. I'm like, what? That's crazy. You actually have, like, listened to music since I was born as well. That's pretty crazy. And I still don't get used to that. Like, I'll never forget the day he started singing along to Welcome to the Black Parade in the car. I was like, what? No, you're not allowed to know this song. Then I was talking about, oh, MCR's biggest hit, and he goes, oh, Welcome to the Black Parade. I'm like, anyway, yeah, it happens a lot. My dad got me into the harder side of things. My mom introduced me to a lot of the softer, like, you know, folkier things. Though she definitely got a side for pop and 80s new wave and, like, goth stuff, like The Cure. So that's what got me into music, I'd say. But what actually started me creating it was video games. You know, I made it for video games. I made lots of game music. And that's kind of crazy to say. You know, I've always sang, I've always liked music. But, you know, for a while I wanted to be a game designer. Then I was like, okay, well, I can also make game music. So I started doing that. And then the thing that made me like want to become a performing artist, like a rock musician, was a Who concert. The Who, who I saw live at Staples Center like 6 years ago now, 5 years ago even. And I left that concert immediately. I was like, Dad, I know what I want to do now. And I know that's like super shallow, you know, like, oh, they play for 25,000 people. You can't do that. I can have high expectations, or not expectations, I can have high aspirations. I don't expect to reach that height. I never expect to. I don't think anybody should. You know, Nate is Lame has a great video on how to start a band, and the first thing he says is keep yourself grounded. I agree with that, but at the same time, having a dream is important, and if I can get, you know, anything close to that number of people feeling one emotion or one sentiment or one semblance of meaning from a sound I get to make, then I think I will have a fulfilling life. Even 5 people feeling something from music I make would be intense and just amazing for me. So there's that one. That's what got me into music, you know, and what inspired me to start making it. Then we've got a next one. Who are your biggest influences in music? This one is, let's see, from Sofiat322. I mean, like, it's a pretty broad spectrum. Like, writing-wise, I said the White Stripes. They're huge. Shawn Mendes for my poppier side, Green Day, Blink for my punkier side, Neck Deep for my sort of mix between the two. There's a pretty huge cross on both ends for, like, what influences me. And, you know, I'd even go so far as say electronic acts like The Killers and The 1975, or indie acts like Walk the Moon, Cage the Elephant, things like that influence me. Post-hardcore and metal bands influence me. Linkin Park's Chester Bennington is my biggest influence for my vocals. It's a huge spectrum, and it's really hard to, like, label a few big ones. Next, also from Sophia 322, is how do you feel about people who can't take criticism? So, I have an excuse for everything a lot, but I do still accept criticism as just a natural part of music, especially. I don't understand not accepting criticism. People who get mad at it, like, as long as they're aware it's fair, and likely is in most cases, like, don't be a dick about criticism. Just take it. Somebody's commenting on your music. They're not trying to be a jerk about it. They're just being honest. They're like, this is how I feel about it. Everybody has an opinion, and it's your job to at least acknowledge theirs, even if you think that they're wrong. You know, it's still worthwhile listening, because they might know something you don't. That's just something that I've learned over time. I used to be really bad with criticism, actually. The next thing, sorry I keep taking deep breaths, I need to keep my throat up. From Anya being edgy. Favorite flavor of Skittle? Orange. Orange followed by purple, actually. You know, one of them. This is one of those two. I like all Skittles. They kind of taste the same to me a lot, but purple, green, orange are like my big 3. You know, and the person who asked this hates orange Skittles. I know. I'm on to you. You've told me. Next, we have another, like, one from Anya Being Edgy. Favorite song you've written and why? So, probably, like, ever, because I've written, like, 400 songs. So, That's really, really hard. I think the song that made other people actually notice I could do something with my life with music, which is really, really pretentious. I get to say that. I know that's super pretentious, but like the thing that made people around me, at least not outside of my family, like a song I could play for people on an acoustic guitar and get them to go like, wow, that's super catchy, that's really cool, was one called Platinum.com. I'll probably put it on an EP or just make it on YouTube at some point. Um, it's super just catchy, G, D, C, G, just over and over. And the chorus is semi-explosive. It's a very fun song. Like, it's super lighthearted. It's about saying fuck you to capitalism and, you know, not understanding why the system needs to screw over the little guy, but it's written from the perspective of a corporation, hence the term Platinum.com, Platinum referring to records, and, you know, .com referring to .commercialism, or .commercial. You know, that's what it's for. Uh, that's a fun song, so I'd say that's probably my favorite or most important song that I've ever written, but, like, my favorite's probably one called Conversations, or maybe even one called, How to Not Die Alone. There are a lot of pretty fun ones, especially ones I've written recently, because I feel like I keep getting better. Like, a lot of my early stuff I hate. The next one is from, let's see who, Kyle underscore Sashimi. Can you hit the Quan?
No.
Next, we have Samuel Johns. Hi, I'm trying to get into guitar, and I was wondering how long did it take you to learn? So I've been playing guitar like for 6 years. I'm smart, I promise. Like 6 or 7 years. You know, like I first learned the very, very basics when my dad was playing when I was younger, because he plays guitar, but I never like took it seriously. Then I got lessons in school at age 10. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. I feel like I do well. And I took it outside of school for a year. That turned into piano lessons because for a while I was really into anime music and I wanted to learn all of it in piano because I loved watching all these piano YouTubers. And I did learn piano. But my guitar lessons sort of petered out. I still played it occasionally, but it wasn't like a huge part of my life because music wasn't a part of my life really yet. And it's worth mentioning as well, when I first started making music, like outside of video games, I actually made rap. It's all gone now. You can't find any of it, but there are some really cringe raps done by like 13, 14-year-old Harry with terrible album covers somewhere on SoundCloud. I'm pretty sure I deleted them, but if I didn't, oh dear, that's a problem. So that's out there for those wondering. But, you know, like, I guess the secret to learning guitar, in my opinion, because I'm still learning. I'm not a great guitarist, I admit that, and I'm just taking lessons again now, and I've advanced phenomenally quickly. Although I'm lucky enough to not be taking conventional lessons, I'm taking them from a place called Los Rios Rock School. Check it out. It's in San Juan Capistrano. You know, it's in California. It's in the SoCal area. I don't know what the city's called. The point is, it's around here, and it's really cool. You should check it out because they're like super freeform about learning. That's only very recently, though. I've improved vastly, though, when it comes to my lead and just the cleanness of how I sound. So I'm really glad about that. But honestly, the secret is just to practice, write songs, play other people's songs. Just learn, absorb, imitate. Do whatever you can, you know? Just make sure you're imitating the right people. Like, don't imitate Tom DeLonge from Blink-182. He makes fun riffs, but he's not a great guitarist, you know? Things like that. And maybe you don't want to sound good, but, like, do that after you are good, because it sounds a lot better either way, you know? Then we got another little question right here. Oh, this is a funny one. Oh dear. Oh no. Oh no. Why do I let myself have these things happen to me? So this is just somebody going, I thought you were a female at first glance. Cool. Assuming gender. Sick. No, that's fair. The hair is very long, although that's completely stereotypical. There's actually a photo on my Instagram today that just has my hair splayed out everywhere. That's not a question though. So, you know, that's somewhat not like sick, you know? There's not really a huge reason behind that. But, you know, it's cool. And that actually wraps it up for today, you know? There were a couple more, but they were either really, really silly. That's why I threw in Hit the Kwong, because I figured it was worth, you know, answering. It's just like, most of them were not that great besides that one. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed it. I'm really awkward, I know. But I had fun making this. So if you guys want to just leave a like, subscribe, comment, ask more questions in the description, and make sure to follow my Insta and Twitter, you'll have some fun. Maybe we'll do this next time and I'll get like 100 questions. I don't know. I got like 15, so it's pretty sick. I'm going to make a favorite bands video at some point that's like more in detail. But yeah, just feel free to ask me any questions. I'll probably answer them at some point. I'm pretty active in my comment sections. Have some fun with it, guys. I'm Harry. I'm probably going to cover a song soon, and you guys will hear that. Then I'll make more originals. But for now, peace out. Y'all have a good day.